Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Today, our reading in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 gives us the opportunity to talk about what I call sanctified sufferings. Paul and his companions had apparently gone through some immense suffering, so much so that they despaired of life, he says there in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. And in the midst of that suffering, they also experienced the comfort of God. And they said, as the sufferings of Christ are ours in abundance, so also our comfort is abundant through Christ. And I believe this had to do largely in part with the fact that they sanctified their sufferings under the lordship of Christ. Christians today suffer in basically two different ways. They either just suffer and they're miserable. They suffer and they kind of just try to pick themselves up on their own. They just deal with the sufferings in and of itself, and they don't really set those sufferings apart and bring those sufferings under the lordship of Christ. Sanctified sufferings are when we are dealing with something that is difficult, and it can be something extremely difficult, but we bring it to the Lord and we sanctify it through prayer, and we anoint that suffering with prayer, with devotion, with submission to God. And when we do that, there is consolation that comes from God that helps us in our affliction. But if our suffering is merely something that we take on ourselves and we don't draw close to the Lord, as a matter of fact, perhaps we even walk further away from the Lord and we reject the Lord, maybe we become bitter, that sort of thing, we don't receive the consolation of the Lord in the same way as one who has sanctified their sufferings, has set them apart to the Lord. And we can definitely sanctify our sufferings. We can really sanctify anything that isn't sinful, of course, to the Lord through prayer. In 1 Timothy chapter 4, even food itself is sanctified by prayer. Something as simple as food can be sanctified. How much more so our sufferings, the hardships, the difficulties that we encounter in this life. When we bring it to the Lord, when we lay these sufferings at His feet, we set them apart unto Him to say, Lord, I put these under your lordship. Then the Lord receives that as an offering, and then He can meet us where we're at with the comfort and the consolation talked about in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. It doesn't mean that the suffering isn't still difficult. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to just fly through the suffering and never feel any pain or any suffering in connection to it. But it just means that the perspective has changed to the degree that our hearts are now in tune to the Lord, because we are using the suffering to draw closer to the Lord. And therefore, because of that, and because we have this real connection with the Lord through our sanctifying these sufferings and bringing these sufferings to Him, that He gives us and supplies us the strength that we need to get through. It might still be hard, might still be difficult, but there's enough comfort to get us through the trial. And each and every day, we're just supplied just enough to get through the day sometimes. And sometimes it's even the case where He just overwhelmingly comforts us to the point that we don't even understand it. It's beyond our comprehension how it could be that we are at peace in this difficult trial. But we know that at least He's going to give us enough to get through. And again, this is done through us bringing it through to the Lord, casting our burdens before Him, taking these sufferings at His feet and laying them before Him, and saying, Lord, I'm going through this trial, but I'm going to do it holding on to my faith, drawing closer to You, and living closer to You. So if there's anyone out there today who perhaps is going through a trial, and there's a lot of people who are suffering right now because of various things going on in the world, I would suggest take those things to the Lord. Don't become bitter. Don't run away from the Lord, but draw closer to the Lord and lay them at his feet, as we talked about. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.